Hello everyone, welcome to this session on D365 F&O Advanced Warehouse Management. My name is Santosh Kumar Durgam and I'm a certified solution architect with over 15 years of working experience. So in this demo session, what is that you're going to learn about? Let's take a quick look at it. You're going to learn about the introduction to the advanced warehouse management, and you will understand the warehouse layout, because in large warehouses there will be a lot of different zones and locations. Different things will happen within the warehouse. So it is important for you to understand the warehouse layout. So we're going to be covering that. Then you are going to have the conceptual understanding on the warehouse operations. So there are quite a lot of things that happen within the warehouse. Though we are not going to cover everything, we are going to look at a few operations that happen within the warehouse. And then you'll also learn about some basic warehouse management setups that also gives you a clarity on what are license plates and also the inventory status, because that is something basic that you have to have the understanding before you dig deeper into the advanced warehouse concepts. With this, let's get started now. Firstly, I will talk about this warehouse layout. Okay, if you take any large warehouse, mostly you see a lot of things happening, and I'm just taking you through this large warehouse here. So you see this area, this is typically the inbound area where the trucks come with the stock. So this is something where we placed purchase orders and then the vendors will send us the stock, right? So those trucks would come into our warehouse, and there is a designated place in which these trucks will stop, and then our warehouse workers will start offloading the stock. So when it comes to offloading, they don't really offload the truck and immediately put that into the respective location. So what they typically do is they offload the truck and then keep the stock at the receiving area. So this floor that you're looking at here, right? So this is the receiving area. So they just keep that stock there, and after the trucks are left, then they take care of doing some packing. If at all anything is needed, they'll take care of doing some packing or put up some labels on the boxes that are received, and then they'll move them into the respective locations. Okay, so when I say respective locations here, so based on the stock that is received, these particular products might need to go into different locations, location 1, 2, 3, anywhere within the warehouse. So you have many locations here, right? So in these locations, the stock might need to go to any location. So they take care of putting them in the respective places. So that is about the inbound area. We talked about the receiving area as well. And these locations, we said these are the locations where the stock is really stored. So within these locations also, generally what happens is you don't really put everything at one place, right? So some locations, they consider them as picking locations, and the other locations they consider them as bulk locations. So picking locations are basically it's easy for people to go and pick them there. So that could be even some products where if you have to go and pick some 50 products, you might be able to easily pick from one location. And if you have to pick some 1,000 pieces of a product, then you may not be able to get them easily available there. That's where you have to go to the bulk locations. Your forklift need to travel and then pick that bulk items and then bring that to the shipping location, shipping area. So like that, within the warehouse, you may have the pick locations and bulk locations, and we talked about those locations now. And let's take a look at this outbound area. So the truck that you have here, consider that as an outbound area. So what generally happens is, if you have to deliver some stock to a customer, warehouse workers, what they do is they receive that information that you have to ship. They have to ship certain products to a specific customer. So what will they do is they'll go to the locations where the stock is available. They pick those items, maybe in a tray or whatever. They pick them and then get them to the packing location. So you see here, after the products are picked, you might have to do some packing, because you cannot directly ship it to the customer. You might have to pack it, you might have to put them in different cartons, so you might have to do a lot of things. That's where you do those things in the packing location. After you do those things in the packing locations, that is where you just give that package or shipments to your truck that has to carry these items to the customer. Or else, if at all your client really does not take care of shipping, that is where you might deliver it through a courier, so something like that. So this is the outbound area. So we talked about the packing locations, and we talked about the outbound area. So this is a simplest way of understanding the different locations within the warehouse. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the locations. So before that, now I want to answer one question. So what is advanced warehouse management, and why advanced warehouse management is needed? So the question is, otherwise let me ask you this way. Being supply chain consultants, and by the way, I forgot to indicate that the prerequisite for this demo is that you must be a F&O supply chain consultant, or else you must have at least a basic understanding on the supply chain functionality of the D365 F&O. Okay, forgive me for that. So we are now talking about why advanced warehouse management, right? So as supply chain consultants, normally what we do is, as we place a purchase order to the supplier, and then when the stock is received into the inventory, what we do is we just do the registration process, right? Through registration process, you just record that this item has come and it is now available in a particular location number 1. So the important piece that we need to remember here is, in such a large warehouse, there are many locations that are available. How the warehouse workers know exactly where this item must be stored? Okay, so that is just one of the simple reasons you have to use the advanced warehouse management. So using the advanced warehouse management functionality, what you can do is, you will be able to drive your warehouse worker to go and store that particular product in which location within the warehouse. So you'll be able to really drive the warehouse workers through mobile device. So what will they do is, the warehouse workers, they'll use their mobile device. In the mobile device, they'll see that they have to now perform this work. 1 minute. So the warehouse workers, they see that this particular work must be performed. Then what they'll do is, they'll check, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, I have to pick the product from this receiving area, and then I have to keep it in the location number 1. So how do they know it? So based on the advanced warehouse functionalities, we'll be able to configure it in a way that if the quantities are like, let's say, less than 50 quantity, it must go to 1 location within the warehouse, because those are my picking locations. When I say picking locations, easy for you to go and grab them. And if the quantities are in thousands that you're receiving, you might need to place them in the bulk location. So that is where you drive your warehouse worker to go to the bulk location and then keep it there. And not only just that, so it depends on the categories of the products that you're receiving. So for example, you're receiving the I'm just talking about an example of the dairy products. Okay, so assume that you are receiving the cheese. The cheese boxes, you might want to place them in a freezer zone, freezer locations. So some locations that are designated for cheese, you'll go there, and then you will need to put them in the cheese locations. Okay, and some products that does not require any freezing, you might have to so some products that does not require any freezing, you might have to put them in the dry locations. So like that, you'll be able to drive the warehouse worker to go and put them in different locations. Okay, that is one of that. And you look at it from the sales side. What we as supply chain consultants do is, we just record it in the system that once after the reservation is completed in the sales order, you generate a picking list through which you will advise your warehouse workers to go and pick so-and-so items from these locations. So that is a minimal level of assistance that we might give them to go and pick it up from certain locations. But when it comes to the large warehouses, and it's a huge company that deals with thousands of products and different categories of the products, that information wouldn't be sufficient. And that is where what we do is to our warehouse workers through the mobile device, what they can do is they know that they have to go and pick it from certain location. They see that mobile device and they go to the exact location and then they pick the product from that particular location, and then even complete that whole process within the system. So they say that I picked this particular product from this location and I completed my work. So that is the advanced warehouse management functionalities. You can do a lot of configurations within the advanced warehouse management where the warehouse workers even know if they have to pick up a pallet, if they have to pick up a small case, or if they have to pick up some 30 different pieces if they have to pick up. So all the information will be given to them through the warehouse mobile device. And that is exactly the reason we say that using the advanced warehouse management, the operations efficiency will be increased and it will streamline the process. That's exactly what it means. Okay. I hope this might have given you a bit of understanding on the warehouse layout and why advanced warehouse management in reality. Okay. Now, this is another image that gives you the real view of the warehouse. So what happens is within the warehouse, you have the locations like this. So you see this space between the two racks. This is the aisle. So in my early stages of my career, I did not know what the aisle is. So that's the reason I'm just giving you an understanding for the aisle. So within this aisle, you got two different, you got your racks. So within the racks, so these racks, there's a rack number 1 and there's a rack number 2. So within the rack number 2, as an example, you got your multiple shelves. There's a shelf 1, 2, 3, 4. And within the shelf, you got these bins. So typically, there are 2 bins in this particular image that you're seeing. There are 2 bins because there are like 2 different areas within one shelf. So those are your bins. So each bin within the location, within the warehouse, is given a specific location name. So the way that it is generally talked within the warehouse is, if I have to tell somebody to go and pick something from this particular place, we have to tell them this location. So this is aisle 1. So aisle 1, rack number 2, and the shelf number 2, and the bin number 1. You see the bin number 1 here? Yeah. So this is the bin. So this is where somebody has to go and either pick it or else put it in that particular location. So that is how we talk about the locations within the warehouse. So any time we are talking about something, we are learning about some functionality, you have to basically understand this warehouse layout like this. Okay, so this is your aisle 2 and this is other rack. So almost this is how you see the warehouses. All right. Now, I want to even use this warehouse layout also as an example. This is something that came through the Microsoft AWMS implementation guide. So you got different location zones within the warehouse. So you might have noticed it when you went to a retail store. That could be Walmart, or if it is in India, you got Reliance, Reliance Mart, or many other marts that you have. So the grocery stores. So when you go to these grocery stores, what would happen is different items are available at different locations. So there are some designated places in which the items are kept, right? So for example, cheese will be available at one location, and fruits will be available at a different location, and something else will be available at another location. So that is very structured. Just like your retail store, even your warehouse is very well structured. It's not that you keep all items at every place. And when you take the retail stores, it is more organized, because if you have repeated customers, what would happen is they have to keep coming back and then finding that item, so they don't keep shuffling the locations. So similarly, within the warehouse also there are some locations and zones. So if it is certain products, those products must be kept in those zones only, or those locations only. So one of such example is this. In this warehouse layout, you see there are dry pick locations and the perishable zone and non-perishable zone. So they designated some space or some locations as dry pick locations. So any products that are of that are dry products in nature, they have to go into these dry picking locations. And again, they have perishable products and non-perishable products within the dry pick locations. And you do have the freezer zones here. Okay, as we talked about the example of the dairy products, right? That is one of the implementations that we did. What we did there was milk, cheese, yogurt or curd. So these kind of products are kept in the freezer location. Okay, because they have to always be frozen, right? So that is the reason they are kept at the freezer locations. And they had some different products like milk powders. So they use certain formula and then evaporate the milk and then they produce the milk powder. So that milk powder is a dry product and that has to go somewhere else. And they do also manufacture certain protein powders. So these protein powders again should be at certain locations within the dry pick locations. Okay, so like that, what I'm trying to say is, the point I'm trying to make here is, within the warehouse you have got your different zones. So in each zone you're going to be having different products stored. Okay, and then in addition to that, we also talked about the bulk locations also. So it depends on how the warehouse is structured. In some warehouses, what will happen is, within the rack, the upper shelves are generally considered as bulk locations because they can't easily keep going up and then bring them down, right? So that is the reason these are bulk locations. As the stock comes in and if the pallets are bigger of size, then they'll advise them to go and put it in the bulk locations. So if they have to deliver to some customers who are requiring the larger quantities, they direct the warehouse workers to directly go and pick it up from the bulk locations. Okay, so like that, you got your warehouse layout covered here. So that is about the warehouse layout. So this, I believe, might have given you a good understanding on the warehouse. Now I'm just going to paste this URL in the comment section also. What this URL is all about is, you'll be able to see the warehouse operations in real time. I really liked this video, lace up WMS video. So in that, they'll just perform certain operations within the warehouse that gives you more understanding. Okay, let me just now take you to the next slide. Now we are entering into some configurations within the warehouse. The very first thing that we have to talk about is the storage dimension groups. So storage dimension groups, in storage dimension groups, there is one setting that you have to enable that says use warehouse management process. So only when you enable this checkbox, only then you will be able to use this this storage dimension group for your advanced warehouse management products. So assume you have got some 100 products. So these 100 products, 20 of them are your service products, something like some general service items that you might have created. So you don't really want to follow the advanced warehouse management on them, right? So that is the reason what you do is, all your products that need to follow the advanced warehouse management process, you will link them to a storage dimension group that is enabled for use warehouse management process. So only when you tag your product to this particular storage dimension group, system knows that you're going to use it for advanced warehouse management. All right. Now, so within the storage dimension group, typically you have this location, inventory status, and license plate as your storage dimensions. So locations, as supply chain consultants, we might have used it, or we have used it with the standard supply chain functionality, right? But when it comes to the advanced warehouse management, typically each location will have its full name. So you're going to enable this location, and the locations generally have the full name, something like this. As I was explaining to you, location is generally formed with the full string of which aisle, which rack, which shelf, and which bin. So as you see here, one of the examples here is you see 01A, which is like aisle 1 and rack 1, shelf 1 and bin 1. Okay, so like this you create your locations. And so we'll talk about how do you create locations and what are the formats and everything later. Now the other one is inventory status. Inventory status will help you to classify your stock, and the most commonly used inventory statuses are available, blocked, and also damaged. So what happens is, with advanced warehouse management functionality, you'll be able to tell the system what is the status of the stock, even though you're going to keep your stock within the same location. Okay, let's say there is a location, in that you're going to keep your 50 products, 50 quantity of your products, and all this 50 quantity, out of them 30 are blocked for some reason, or else 20 are blocked for some reason, because there is some issue with these products. You are discussing something with your supplier, so you don't want them to be available for sale. So you can still keep them in the location, and still you can make them unavailable for sale. So for those scenarios, you will use the inventory status. Okay, and the other one is license plate. So if you had looked at storage dimension group, by looking at license plate, you might have wondered what is this license plate. Okay, so license plate is basically when the items come into the inventory, you store them into certain packages. That could be a pallet, that could be a container, that could be a case. So anything that you store, and then you can put up a number to that box, and that is your license plate number. So what will happen is, you will track the stock within one particular pallet with a unique number, so that you know what contents are available within that license plate. I'll just give you a bit more understanding on this. So as you can see here, so the license plates are used to track the inventory in warehouse by assigning a unique serial number, as I was just explaining. So you take a look at this one here. Assume that we received some 50 quantity in a box, and that is item number 1, and it has batch number one, so batch number, 2 batch numbers, maybe 50 quantity, 25 each into 2 different batch numbers, and it may have 50 different serial numbers if you're following a serial number for your item. What will happen is, your when the items are received into the warehouse, you will basically check the quantities, you check the things, and then you might keep them back into the box. You keep them back into that box or carton, and then you assign a license plate number to that. Okay, that license plate that is attached to the box also talks about what are the contents in that particular box. So you will typically say that you have 50 quantity of this item in this particular box. So the advantage of using the license plate is, by attaching a license plate number on the box, you know the contents in the box. So if you have to deliver the same box to a customer, you don't need to again scan those 50 serial numbers, because when those 50 items are kept into the box, those serial numbers are recorded in the system, saying that serial number 1 to 50 of batch number 1 and batch number 2 are available in this box. So when you're delivering it to the customer, you don't need to again tell the system which serial numbers you're picking. You can just tell the system this box is being delivered to the customer. So system is intelligent enough to record that these 50 serial numbers are out for the delivery. So that system can take that out from the inventory. So that is the advantage of the license plates. And not only that, so what you can also do is, within one single license plate you may have multiple products also. So you may have item number 1 and item number 2 also. In one previous implementation that we did, what we did was, there was a distribution company. In the distribution company, they had multiple items coming together in one single box. So that was about the Cisco routers. Along with that, they'll get some cables and some sort of the digital equipment they'll get within one single box. And within the inventory, those are different item numbers. You got item number 1, 2, and item number 3. But when it comes as package, that comes as one single package. But customers generally don't buy them individually. So if I have to deliver that, customer orders me those 3 products together, and then I have to send that to the customer. So that is about, you do the license plate, you use the license plate. Okay. And one last thing that I want to tell you here, one license plate can exist only in one location, because there's a conceptual understanding you have to get here. So you got a box, and on that box you have a license plate number sticked. So this particular same license plate number, you can't put that into 2 different locations, right? Because it can exist either here or else here. So that is the license. Some consultants may get confused. Oh, what's my license plate, and why can't I put it in multiple locations, something like this. And you may also see some errors when you try to put that in different locations. So that is the reason. And this license plate can be anything. So as you see here, this is a tote bin. So you take this tote bin and then you store your products and then put that into the location. So you can assign a license plate number on even this tote bin. And some companies, what they do is, on the wooden pallets that you're seeing here, even on the wooden pallet also they'll put a license plate number, because they carry the whole wooden pallet and then deliver it to the customer. Alright, so that is about the license plate. So that is all for this session. With one last thing, we'll just wrap it up. Even at the warehouse level, you're going to make a setting that tells the system you want to use that particular warehouse for warehouse management process. So as you see here, within the demo data, you have got this 24 warehouse that is enabled for use warehouse management process. So by enabling this, system knows you want to follow the advanced warehouse management on this warehouse. Okay. Now a quick recap on what you learned in this session. So you got an introduction on advanced warehouse management. Now you know why the advanced management functionalities are needed, and you understand the warehouse layout, and you got a conceptual understanding on a few operations that are performed within the warehouse, like bulk locations. You pick certain things from bulk locations, certain things from pick locations, all of them. And finally, you got a clarity on what are license plates and what are inventory statuses. So I believe this session is helpful to you. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one. Thank you.